Life. Right, life. I think about life and all the things that I guess piss me off about it a lot. Of course, now the way things are lately, I think that people are really questioning what the point of all this is and why we're here and why we do things, and I ask myself those questions too. I think that when it comes down to it, my opinion of life has always been that it doesn't really, it has meaning and it doesn't have meaning. It's both meaningful and meaningless. And what do I mean by that? When I think about life, I think the meaning of life is just whatever you give meaning to. When it comes to the meaning of life is whatever you give the meaning to. Basically, how you choose to live your life is what it means to be alive. I feel like that's a pretty simple idea, but that's the way I've always felt when it comes down to it. Life is whatever you put into it and whatever you get out of it. If I choose to go out and do whatever, I don't know, if I choose to go out and play guitar, and then that's basically what it means to me. And if I choose to stay inside all day, that's all it means to me too. It's very much just whatever you make of it. If you choose to explore the world, or if you choose to make as much money as possible, or if you choose to try new things, that's basically what it means to you. I think life is just whatever you make of it, and that's all there really is to it. It might not be the right answer, but it's the one that makes the most sense to me. Obviously, that's not the point of this video. The point is the absurdity of life. And what do I mean by the absurdity of life? I feel like life and the way we've done things is just full of contradictions. I feel like it's all just meaningless paradoxes that just complicate things further. Let's take privilege, for example. We all have privileges in life. Some of us have more money than others. Some of us are able to use our full body and brains. Some of us are able to have more freedom based on where we're born and all that. And while we should be aware of our privileges, I think it's a bit absurd at the same time. Let's take Palestine, for example. There are a lot of Palestinian children getting bombs dropped on their head every day. And I could say that I am privileged because I don't have to go through that. I don't have to go through that kind of thing. I'm also not privileged because you're not supposed to have bombs dropped on your head. You know what I mean? It's not natural to be experiencing violence constantly in life, and that's what I mean. It's not a privilege that these kids are getting bombed, or it's not a privilege that I'm not getting bombed. It's just not supposed to get bombed. But the way people will frame it is that you're privileged because you don't have that problem in life. And I suppose that's when I started thinking about how absurd it all is, because you give these meanings to things that really shouldn't have meaning to us at all. Money doesn't have meaning just because we say it has meaning. It's a little piece of paper. I have $27 in my wallet right now, and it's only meaningful because we just pretend that it has meaning. But if the stock market were to crash and inflation were to make or weaken the dollar even more, $27 isn't worth $27 anymore. It's worth, I don't know, $15, right? If we just say it, just as an example, I suppose that's where the absurdity comes in, because we put all these rules on life and we say that these things have meaning just because we assume that because we are alive and because we are adhering to a certain standard of life that we've made up, that therefore we are privileged because some people aren't able to adhere to the standard of life that we have made up for ourselves. Another example, my parents did not grow up as privileged as I did. My parents grew up poorer than I did. They grew up in a time period where violence occurred in life compared to my time, right? Like they grew up with things that I didn't have, or things that they didn't have that I have. But at the same time, I also grew up with things that they had that I don't have, like privacy, for example. They had more privacy in their lives than I do. And you might think, well, what do you mean? I tell you, we live in a surveillance state. With having to have the internet watching us, Big Brother watching us all the time, and just having to go along with it because we can't live without the internet and the surveillance technology that is capable of being used through the internet. And so who was more privileged? My parents, because they didn't grow up in a safe environment, or me because are my parents more privileged because they didn't grow up with as many things as I did, like in terms of like financial status, or they were privileged than I am because they grew up in a time where they can have their own lives outside of whoever was spying on them or wanted to spy on them. You know what I mean? Like, it's all made up to me. It's all meaningless when it comes down to it. It's all arbitrary and it's all foolish, and the only reason why it has any meaning is because we play into it. Basically, what it comes down to is that the idea of all these rules, these ideas, the things that we hold up as having meaning, doesn't really have as much meaning as we say it does. It only has meaning because we give it meaning, like privilege, like money, like social status, anything. It's only meaningful because we say it has meaning. And if we took away the things that we assume give it meaning, it no longer has meaning. And basically what it comes down to is that all of this is bullshit. Like, a trillionaire is not really a trillionaire just because he has a couple extra zeros in his bank account. The only reason why it has meaning is because we assume that the cash has meaning, and therefore he has more power based on a rule that we have made. And when it comes down to it, for me, it's all bullshit. It's all a joke. It doesn't mean anything just because we say it has meaning. It only has meaning because we assume it has meaning. And that's basically where I'm at mentally. And I think if anybody has anything they want to say about it, you're welcome to mention it. But that's basically where I came to when I was thinking about life and the meaning and the absurdity of all of it. So I'm just going to leave it there. See ya.